Brian Windhorst of ESPN just sent a serious message about what the Cavaliers should do given the opportunity to make a major trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. What they should do, who they should give up, and why they should do it. Hey everybody, Billy BB back with you on Cavs Digest, talking Cavs basketball. Unfortunately, the Cavs are in the offseason. I say unfortunately for many reasons. The first would be the fact that they lost and they're not competing. It was an open Eastern Conference with the Knicks and Pacers. And the other, unfortunately, is we're going to deal with trade rumors. We're going to deal with ideas. We're going to deal with people understanding and not understanding and hopes and dreams and goals and players, coaches, this, that, and the other. So that's why you're going to want to stay tuned to Cavs Digest. We're going to break it all down for you. We're going to talk about what's happening, why it's happening, what can be done, what can't be done. We're down in the chat and the comments below. A lot of people debating and giving ideas and things like that, which I always love personally. So definitely keep that up and keep doing that as we soldier on. So you can go back and watch our last couple trade videos. We've talked about the salary cap, the second apron, players they can get, players they can't get, how they can get them, how it'll affect them, so on and so forth. So Brian Windhorst has tracked the Cavs, obviously, his whole career, and once again invested in them because of their winning. I will say, though, he did kind of a switch up. He did kind of I booked my hotel room for the Cavaliers for June. I'm really excited to watch them, blah, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. And then they lost game one, and I think he was talking about how the Cavs were always scared of the Pacers. They were always worried about them, which came out of nowhere after they lost game one. So that's Windy at this point in time. Appearing on ESPN radio the other day, he made some comments about the Cavs and a possible trade for Giannis. He also talked about what the Cavaliers might be able to give up for Giannis, and he said all this and gave the reasons for that trade. So we're going to watch that clip, then break down everything associated with it.
I'm not sure if you heard from our friend. We both have a mutual friend in Emmett Golden from ESPN Cleveland and ESPN Radio as well. He was talking about a potential trade for Giannis, and I realize there's a chance that Giannis never even leaves out of Milwaukee. But he said he would not trade Evan Mobley for Giannis if he were the Cavs because of Mobley's age. What was your reaction when you heard that, or what is your reaction to that?
Well, this is the first I've heard of it. If the Cavs have a chance to trade for Giannis, I would make that trade. But I think I would say this about Giannis. If I were Giannis, I would want to stay in the Eastern Conference. Unfortunately, the reality is that, if you're a team like the Knicks and you know about this Tatum injury, or your team like the Cavs, you now see a window because, this Celtics team, they're not going to be at full power for a long time. And so if you're the Knicks tonight, you kind of have to close because, this is your opportunity. Not only that, if you win tonight, you get 4 days off and home court advantage. Like, you couldn't have dreamed of that scenario when the playoffs started. And, that's huge. And if you're a team like the Cavs, as bad as their end was, they're going into a situation next year where they know the Celtics may not be full strength for most, if not all, the year. So the world changed when Tatum had that injury, and it's sad, but that's true. And if you're the Knicks or you're the Cavs or the other East teams, you have to realize that there's a window here that you didn't expect to have.
All right, so some interesting comments there from Brian Windhorst about Giannis Antetokounmpo possibly coming to the Cavaliers. Let's start with this. Getting Giannis, right? That's kind of like number one that we're talking about here. This is a primetime player, averaging 30 and 11, and 6 assists, and playing defense. The three-pointer's not there. It's never really been there. He can hit one here and there to keep them honest, but it's never been like a main focal point for Giannis. We know who he is. He's a champion. This is like training for Donovan Mitchell again, or like an elevated version of Donovan Mitchell. You get the opportunity to land a star. That's what Wendy's saying. If you get the opportunity to get a Giannis-esque player, you do it, and then you work from there. And we've seen many teams do this, and for some it's backfired. And for like the Bucks, they might have said, hey, you get Dame Lillard, and then you figure it out, and it hasn't worked for them. For the Knicks, they get Jalen Brunson, and it has worked for them. For the Heat, Jimmy Butler, get him and go from there. It worked for them. So the Cavaliers may want to go about their business in that way. First off, I'll ask, what are your thoughts on Windy? What are your thoughts on Giannis? You can drop down into the comments and let me know kind of how you feel about Windy and how he covers the Cavs and his thoughts and his feelings. I'm still a Windy guy. I like him. Don't love sometimes the switch up, but is what it is. As far as Giannis goes, I'm the same. Get a star, go get him. Don't hesitate. Don't worry about it. Just go get him. Now, the other comment he made yet didn't make that I thought was interesting. So they were saying, yeah, you would give up Evan Mobley for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what Emmett Golden was saying and so forth. And then Windy just said, well, if you can get Giannis Antetokounmpo, you go get him. Now, did he blatantly say give up Evan Mobley? Yeah, Evan Mobley can be included in that. No. Did he stop and say, whoa, nobody's giving up Evan Mobley here, it's a defensive player of the year, so on and so forth? No. So you can read into it how you want. Then I ask you, would you be willing to give up Evan Mobley for Giannis Antetokounmpo? I like Evan Mobley. The defensive player of the year thing is great. Drafted and developed in Cleveland thing is great. I like his personality, actually. I think he's just a calm, cool, collected dude. The thing here is, and Browns fans know this, it is a mystery box situation. It's a mystery box situation. We saw this with Travis Hunter. You can get Travis Hunter or trade for more picks and get a player as good as Travis Hunter. So it's the same. Evan Mobley, who you like and is under contract, and he may be as good as Giannis Antetokounmpo someday. Or you just trade him for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's kind of the mystery box there. Now, jumping into all that, you're giving other players with it. I think you probably have to give up like one or two more. I'm guessing they'd ask for DeAndre Hunter and maybe one more guy. And then again, you're replacing those guys, as Koby Altman would know, you're replacing those guys on your roster with vet minimums, right? And you may think that's no big deal, but this isn't 2K, right? So you're replacing... If you had to include, let's say, Max Strus or DeAndre Hunter in that deal, you're replacing them with You're replacing them with PJ Tucker. Yes, you're replacing DeAndre Hunter with PJ Tucker. Now, if that's worth Giannis, it's worth Giannis. The final point, and you can drop down in the comments, would you trade Mobley for Giannis? That's the big question, right? I like Mobley, I like Giannis, mystery box, all that. So I definitely want to know how people would feel about a trade like that. The last point Wendy made, of course, is the East is going to be open. I think the Knicks are on a run, but I don't think they're Celtics-esque, where for 7 years they're going to be a part of that Eastern Conference upper echelon. Philly's going to bounce. Philly's injured and down, and they're trying to bounce back, but I don't know if they'll do that. I think you could have beat Indiana. I mean, the East is open. So if you think there's an opportunity to get Giannis and vault yourself to the top of the East, Wendy says go for it. The East is open. This would be the time to make the move. It's not, I remember when they made the Mitchell trade, a lot of people thought it was premature to try and get involved in all that Eastern Conference mix-up, which maybe he was right. But drop down in the comments. Let me know about what you think with all this being said from Brian Windhurst. I thought it was a strong statement, confident statement, a real go-get-it statement. So we'll keep you updated on everything happening with the Cavs trade market here on Cavs Digest.